So what I need to do is I'm going to put, I'm going to buy some more geckos for the top and then more geckos for the middle
Why are you buying more geckos?
and more. Well, I have empty tanks. I have to buy more geckos, right? It's not even Sunday and it's a sin to have empty tanks.
The purpose of this stuff was coming from
We're live. Oh my gosh. Here we are talking about the new setup and we are live. Thank you everyone for joining us. I am working through a little bit of a challenge with getting our guest on tonight. I'm sure she'll be here any minute. Well, what does that give me? That gives me plenty of time to talk, right?
I can't find the line. Oh, there it is.
Excuse me. So we have a very special guest tonight. It's Elizabeth from the Caffeinated Lizard, and we are so happy to have her on. Elizabeth, I think we have her. So give me just a second, Elizabeth, if you don't mind. We're going to talk a little bit about some upcoming events. We've got some light things going on. I'm going to try to get this light a little bit lighter here. Get the light lighter. Okay.
It's a little brighter.
Brighter. So what do we have going on, Nanette?
I have no clue.
So a couple of things.
Why do you do this?
Because I'd like to. A couple of things that we have going on. Number one is we are crazy running all over the place, updating the facility, moving animals around, changing enclosures. I actually have a spreadsheet with all of my enclosures other than the grow out enclosures, all the adult breeder enclosures, and it's a lot. It's a lot of enclosures, and we're moving animals around to give them more room and just a different and then if you see,
you're right, Angie.
If you see comments, go ahead.
That's perfect.
I'm going to show that I haven't even read it. Hope she's not swearing. So that's a lot, and we should expect. Well, I pulled some velvet gecko eggs today, but we should be kicking in with eggs in not more than a couple 3 weeks with crested geckos and some of the rarer geckos that we have. What else do we have? I'm going to talk about Buy Me a Coffee real quick. If you're not a member of the Buy Me a Coffee program, there's a lot coming out in the next couple of months with the Buy Me a Coffee program. In fact, it is. Thank you for adjusting.
I'm just making sure there's no Sloppy Joe on you.
Sloppy Joes. Sloppy Joes. Nobody knows that song. It's from SNL. So Buy Me a Coffee, we have a live stream tomorrow night for our Buy Me a Coffee members. And I always do this once a year, this big giveaway. Is that Sloppy Joe's?
It's on my screen.
Oh, outstanding. There you go. There. Let me wipe the Sloppy Joe's from your screen. Buy Me a Coffee. What are we doing with this with the big giveaway day coming up tomorrow night at 6:30 with our Buy Me a Coffee members only? First of all, it's the big giveaway. There's two, if I remember this right, there's two $100 gift certificates to any 12 Supreme Days of Christmas donor, including the Caffeinated Lizard. Thank you very much. What else? There's four $50 gift certificates, all kinds of other stuff. We'll have some live stream gifts as well. I'm going to introduce a new tool for our Buy Me a Coffee members to help them. And Gina and Brad, if you're in the live, you know about this tool. It will help you keep track of your income and expenses. A little bit of a behind the scenes on some of the new animals that I'm introducing at Supreme Gecko for the big breeding season this year. So come Buy Me a Coffee members for the live for that. If nothing else, we'll have a question and answer session, and I might have a couple of additional surprises in there.
Oh.
What's that?
At Op Mern, I think it says. The guest in here tonight is my sister, LOL.
Very cool. Very cool. Say nice things. Don't say mean things. You can say mean things about me, but don't say anything mean about Elizabeth.
Brad's having problems with the chickens.
Brad.
They're begging for food.
Give them food. You have to feed them at least once every month or so.
Worse than dogs.
Oh, I missed one thing for the Buy Me a Coffee. We'll have some big discounts in the store. Items and it's only going to be a 24-hour item kind of thing. So you better get in real quick on the items. And we'll have a few animals on discount as well for you Buy Me a Coffee members. Don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody else about that. Okay, what else do we have? The NARBC Tinley Park. The fit tonight is the Gecko Symposium, which was a few years ago at NARBC Tinley Park.
And it doesn't have Sloppy Joe's on it.
Check your screen. And so NARBC Tinley Park, the show is coming up March 14th, 15th?
13th and 14th.
13th and 14th.
15th. 13, 14, 15.
And we will be there Saturday. If anybody's interested, come say hi, watch for the hat. And
We're not vending, we're just walking.
We're not vending, we're walking. We're walking here. We're walking here.
Thanks, Angie. Now I'm going to hit the like button.
Oh, let me hide that. Everybody, welcome. Welcome to the show. I'm going to jump right in. I usually blab longer than this, but we're going to bring on...
You blabbed long enough.
I know. I blab way too much. We're going to bring on Elizabeth, who is the owner, the founder, the owner, the CEO, the CFO, the CIO of the Caffeinated Lizard. I want to thank, first of all, Elizabeth for her donations to the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas. I hope you enjoyed the event. I certainly did. Thank you, donor Elizabeth, for all that you've given to the event. So I watched some videos. I read some blogs. She has a wonderful, wonderful Patreon. Frank, if you get a chance, if you haven't already, share the Patreon of the Caffeinated Lizard in the chat, please. Wonderful, wonderful Patreon where she has all kinds of information and day-to-day kind of activities. It's a lot of fun to read. And anyways, I was going to try to kind of name off all these animals that she's working with and all the things that she has going on. There's no way. She's so busy and doing so many different things. Let me go ahead and introduce Elizabeth from the Caffeinated Lizard. Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good. I'm caffeinated.
Everybody has to be caffeinated. And here I come in with decaf, caffeine-free soda. What's up with that? Who do you have with you?
I had to get a Mountain Dew.
There you go. There you go. Good choice. Elizabeth, can you, we're going to get to your animals in just a second, but can you give everybody kind of a background of you, yourself, hobbies, what you do for work, things like that, whatever you want to share, and maybe a little bit of background then on how you started, when you started, how did you pick the name of the Caffeinated Lizard?
The name came from kind of a joke at a job from, I worked at a local pet store chain, and they called me Liz, but I was constantly drinking the Mountain Dew. So it just kind of stuck. And working with the geckos and then the legless lizards, we decided to combine Liz and lizard and the caffeine. The caffeine is kind of in what I've been known for since high school.
Perfect. That's what's that?
Can you turn this up a little?
I can't. Liz, can you just talk? I'm going to see if I can.
I can try to be louder.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just looking to see if I can actually increase your volume, and I don't think I can. Yeah, just if you could talk a little bit louder. That's kind of interesting. You worked at a pet store. How long did you work at the pet store?
A little bit over a year before I decided that it didn't really align with what I thought they should be doing, and being corporate. They were more focused on money than welfare.
It's so hard. I get this sent to me like once a month. Pet store bad, and there's some great pet stores. Brad, we're lucky in this area to have 3 outstanding reptile pet stores. So I've got to be honest, folks. I don't even go into PetSmart or what are the other ones? Petco,
Petco and PetSmart.
Pet something. I don't know. I really don't get an opportunity to, Animal House. I don't get an opportunity to go into pet stores like that. Not that I'm boycotting or anything like that. I just, we've got such great ones around here. I just go to them instead.
I don't know if I do or not.
What's that?
They're asking if I like legless lizards.
Do you like legless lizards?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're too much like a snake.
My
How
mom
long
is the
ago?
same way.
I don't know.
Go ahead, Liz.
My mom is the same way. If it looks remotely snake-like, she's not going near it.
I have a hard time with leopard geckos sometimes because of the way they come up in the tank.
What do you mean the way they come up on the tank? Like the way that they shake their tails like this?
Stop.
Like this? Is that it? Does that bother you?
I
that-
could leave anytime now.
Can I go like this? Does that bother you?
Again,
Smack you
I
in the
could
head,
leave
you
anytime.
Tell us about the caffeinated lizard. When did you start? And what kind of animals? I would just butcher this if I tried to name off all the animals that you're working with.
So I'm only working on breeding 2, and it's the legless lizards and the skunk geckos. Everything else, I volunteer with our local herpetological society, and so some of my animals are ambassador animals, and some of them are just pets for me to enjoy, which some people have a hard time getting their head around, I guess. It's a whole lot of, why would you keep that? Because I can.
What are some of those animals? So I do, because everything that I do since I was a younger gentleman, everything was for the purpose of breeding, from a satisfaction for me to make sure that I'm doing things the right way kind of sense. But so I'm all focused on the fish for breeding and the lizards for breeding, and but I can understand keeping some of these animals because they're so interesting. We've had guests on, Heather as an example, that kept a lot of animals and had no intention at all for breeding. What are some of the animals that you've rescued and you're keeping right now that you are not breeding? We're going to get into those other 2 in just a minute, though.
I've got a blue-tongued skink, I have a frilled lizard, I have a jeweled lacerda, I've got a couple ball pythons and a corn snake. I have a leopard gecko. He is super stunted. He's really little. He's 5 years old and fits in the palm of my hand still.
Oh,
So is this a lizard or a snake she's holding?
She's
What?
a lizard.
Oh, I thought it was
what kind is it?
She is a Sheltopusic.
Who?
Nanette won't like her.
Is it a? I don't even know.
I thought it was a snake.
No, they're also called European legless lizards. And
Gotcha.
we've been doing TikTok lives with them, and everyone's like, where are her legs? I'm like, she left them at wherever she was shipped from. Maisie was imported last year. So
That's what they're asking for.
Can you hold out the legless lizard a little bit so we can see it a little bit better? Thank you very much for doing that.
There you go, guys.
Maisie's one of my ambassadors.
Are
She,
there?
she tolerates a lot.
So when you say ambassadors, what does that mean? Does that mean that you're doing shows, kind of personal shows kind of thing? Can you talk a little bit about that?
When I do events with our Herp Society, we do summer camps, Boy Scout meetings, and things like that. And so one other member has one of these guys, but it is way not handleable. And so when we get into the differences of lizards and snakes, Maisie is a pretty good example of, just because it looks like a snake doesn't mean it is one, and that legs weren't a job requirement.
I'm looking at questions here. You had mentioned frilled dragons, and Brad is asking Indonesian or Australian.
He's a New Guinea frilled.
Very cool.
Somebody is saying that they have these in the wild in Germany. Maybe not that kind, but we have one.
They're all across Europe.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Here, I'm showing my ignorance here, but are they in the United States as well? South America?
So there's over 200 species of legless lizards. These guys are the largest. And like the US does have some, they're just significantly smaller. We've got the eastern glass lizards. I think we've got northern glass lizards in Kentucky and Indiana, at least in Indiana for sure. But these guys range from Croatia and Greece all the way into Russia and South Asia.
Oh my gosh. Different colors, different obvious sizes, but different behaviors. You said that this one is so calm and your friend's is a little bit not so calm.
I've got one that gator rolls endlessly.
Really?
They do it as a defense to try and get away, but also because they're opportunistic scavengers, the same way that alligators do. They'll grab and twist. I'm in Kentucky.
Kentucky. What part of Kentucky, if I
I'm
may
in
ask?
Louisville.
Louisville. Did I say it the right
You
way?
did. I'm so proud of you. You got to cut out like half the syllables.
I worked in Mount Sterling
Okay.
for a long time for my job, and it's a different environment, that's for sure. Very slowed down and very comfortable, and the nicest people in the world. But that was one of the first things, when I worked in by Columbus, actually in Seymour, Indiana, John Cougar Mellencamp, hometown. But when I worked there, it was Louisville. Up here, it's Louisville, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're down after you get past like Columbus, Indiana, then it becomes Louisville. Very interesting.
Angie said that's where she wants to live.
I love Kentucky. We were talking about a vacation in Kentucky recently. We were probably still going Kentucky Lake, one of the best fishing places ever. Do you, speaking of Kentucky, do you have a lot of local, you talked about the Herp Society, do you have a lot of local keepers, reptile shows around you?
I do a reptile show in Clarksville, Indiana every month.
Oh.
We have a lot of small shows like peppered through Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky. So we've got, like, I'm doing one in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. It's about 45 minutes away from me. And then I've got one, the Clarksville show. I've got one in Hopkinsville next month. That one's a couple hours away. That's a road trip for me.
Do you ever get to the Indianapolis shows?
No.
Okay.
I have dogs and traveling doesn't work for me. And two of us live in this house. I am the only one that handles the small zoo that is my basement. So one whole wall is just tents of geckos because I keep them in grow tents. And then I've got the snakes and these guys. Hopefully these guys are a little bit easier in the coming weeks. They're all going to be moving outside.
Now, when you move them outside, I want to get back to the grow tents in just a second, but when you move these guys outside, are you putting them in like screen cages, or talk a little bit about how you're going to keep them outside, if you don't mind?
We custom built a 6 foot by 8 foot by 6 foot enclosure last year. And then outfitted it with heat and everything. So I had 3 that were able to move out there in September and acclimate when the temperatures started to drop. So they've been outside this whole winter. They came out this week. I'm excited.
How did they do with the recent cold front that we had about 3 weeks ago or so? Did you guys get all the snow?
We got some snow. I think we got somewhere around 5.5 inches of snow. So we didn't get the brunt of it, but we did get we had some it was a really long period of cold. And so I was really concerned about it, but they have a heat mat positioned over their burrow. It's set in line with the burrow temps for their native range. A whole lot of research went into setting up that enclosure.
Interesting. And that's fine for them. So that's kind of what you were talking about, Europe. This is what they normally go through, right?
I spent 2 months looking up climate information across their habitat range, comparing it to our climate here. I have a friend who's a contractor. I got where our frost line is located, figured out what the temperature in the ground would be for that so that I knew where to set everything. And then when we built the cage, it's 18 inches high on the sides and then all mesh.
Okay. Do you have any, I've got to ask this because it's kind of running through my mind now. Do you have any issues with other animals near your enclosures?
We have neighborhood cats.
And
for the most part, because I have quail out there too. And they leave everything alone because, again, we have 2 dogs.
Okay.
So I have a cattle dog mix and I have a bloodhound, and nothing sneaks into our yard. Nothing sneaks past our streets. The Bloodhound 3000 has us covered. The whole block knows when that dog sees somebody.
They're kind of in charge of the area. They let everybody know when something's around.
Oh yeah, and I have a camera on the outdoor enclosure too. So it is a dual camera, so I can see straight down over top of the burrow and then out so I can see around the cage.
Nice.
I was not taking chances. There is a Wi-Fi combo meter out there for the burrow. There's another one monitoring soil temps. I went all out.
Are they at all coming out during the winter time? Do they come out of their burrows at all?
No. Which is kind of how I feel about winter. I'm not a fan.
Waiting for those warm spring days.
It's going to be almost right around 80 degrees tomorrow. I expect that all three will be out basking.
Oh, nice. Do they warm up that quick?
With the soil temps being what they are, it's really close to what the burrow temperature is right now.
Okay.
So I have everything being measured in Celsius because I'm logging every little detail. I keep a written journal. I have your favorite thing in the whole wide world. I have a spreadsheet. I have a series of spreadsheets for these guys.
There you go. Everyone's
The vet has
spreadsheet.
congratulated me on my attempt to get a PhD in species.
Let's talk about those grow tents. Brad was saying here, I'm going to come back to the feeding schedule in just a second. I think Angie brought that up.
No, Frank.
Frank? Okay, Frank did. But Brad is using grow tents as well. Talk about how you've set up these grow tents for your animals, and what are the pros, what are the cons?
So it's a little bit trickier to set up bioactive. You don't have the rigid side, so you're not mounting things to the side. You can build a frame inside of it and be able to mount things up. I've seen some people use shower curtain caddies and hang them up. But for the ones that I have managed to set up bioactive, I got plastic sheeting to put in the inside to keep it from leaking and then put the substrate and everything in there. And it's perfect for plants. So the plants are doing well. It's just when they get real close to the lights. I have the lights internally mounted. And when you want to talk about a downside, I encountered one this evening because Lily, my main breeder skunk gecko, laid her eggs inside the dome and cooked them. So
Oh
I was like,
no.
you can't do that. So now I'm looking at ways I got to replace the fixture, but I want to cover the light so that she doesn't go back in there. She has never gone inside the light fixture before.
So I'm trying to envision this and what kind of a problem it caused. But when you say a light fixture, so you have the grow tent, but then you have a light kind of hanging, or
the dome is inside the tent.
Okay.
And generally they're not hot enough to the touch for the geckos to want to hang out on them when the lights are off. And during the day, they're too hot for the geckos to want to go near. So I've had them jump onto them real quick and then bounce back off onto the sides. But nobody's hanging out until the lights are off at night. And then that radiant heat coming off the bulb, I guess, just was really enticing for her.
Interesting. So it went up onto the light fixture. Let's say I'm going to tighten this so I don't dump it. So the light fixture is here, and I'm sorry, Liz, what kind of animal was it? Was it
She's one of my skunk geckos. Her kid is on my shirt.
Okay. I thought so. I just wanted to make sure. So the skunk gecko went onto the light fixture at night when it's cooling down a little bit and laid the eggs there and then took off.
The eggs inside next to the light bulb.
Oh, went inside by the light bulb where it was a little bit more warmer, a little bit more secluded.
A little bit of both. But
interesting.
Have plenty of cork bark and plant pots and other hollow decorations that she likes to usually lay her eggs in.
Oh. Did you have a good long talk with that skunk gecko?
I told her I was going to call Gecko Protective Services.
Something like that happens. Do you stop and do you kind of go through that whole process? Why did she do that? Why did she go up in there? And then do you make any adjustments to your care or how you're setting up for her laying?
I'm working on getting radiant heat panels in all of the tents. It's an expensive endeavor, but we're going to put LEDs for the plants, full spectrum, and then radiant heat panels. I would say UVB. I have every single one of these guys actively avoids UVB when I provide it. So.
Oh my, Interesting. My mind's racing 1,000 miles an hour. I want to bring that up later, so don't let me forget.
I
But
can't make any promises. My brain is
Jeanette-
scattered like roaches when you turn the lights on.
Wow. Because Brad had mentioned that he has the tents as well. We briefly got into it. So you're actually, so are you drilling cutting a hole in the tent for these light fixtures?
They have ventilation ports so that you can put PVC tubing or HVAC tubing through there. And so I run the cords through those vents and then seal them up. And then the lights hang, I've got them zip tied to there's bars across the top that you can hang plants and stuff from. And so I use it to mount the lights up there.
How big are these tents?
My small ones are 24 by 24 by 32 inches. And the big ones that I keep my breeders in are 2 by 2 by 4.
What are, and I don't know if Bobby is still here from Gecko Cove, but he uses these tents as well. But what would you say is the advantage of using a tent as opposed to, let's talk about two different things, like a PVC enclosure or exo chair or something like that, or a tub type of enclosure? What are the advantages of using one of the tents?
I use tubs for the babies. I have done glass enclosures. I have done PVC enclosures. I landed on the tents because they're an Indonesian species, so they need that heat and humidity, and the tents tend to maintain that phenomenally.
Because
and
you
for
really
the size and the price, it's fantastic.
Interesting. I've got to remember this. This is interesting.
I tend to not do things strictly by the book, but you can't advance anything if you're not willing to try new things.
Well, and my theory is, we could all go on Chat GPT and look up how can I take care of my skunk geckos? Liz, do you call them skunk geckos or do you call them white line geckos?
I call them skunk geckos.
Cool. I will refer to them.
I tend to talk too fast at expos to try and say white-lined gecko really fast. So I trip over the words, and then skunk gecko is easier.
And there's so many different names. It's crazy. And I tell you what, folks, if you don't know what a skunk gecko is, what's the Latin name, if you wouldn't mind?
Gecko vittatus.
Gecko vittatus. If you don't know what these are, you should go out and do a little research because they are super, super cool. They're fairly handleable. If I see you kind of handling them once in a while. They're a little bit of a bigger gecko. It's not like the teeny tiny things that I keep that you can't see and you will never find them in the enclosures. And they're with the proper one or two little changes, like Liz was talking about, they're not that difficult to keep, right?
Their cares that they have a habitat overlap with tokay geckos, and they're very closely related to tokay geckos. So if you can take care of a tokay gecko, you can take care of these guys. They're just not as likely to bite you.
That should be their motto or some kind of a tagline.
I tell people at expos all the time, they are still flighty. They're just not bitey. And I tell people that they are just like tokays without all of the grr.
I found ours, and I'll never be able to point the right direction. Our skunk geckos, I have eggs in this tank. I don't think they're going to hatch. We brought them in wild. I separated them. I didn't even move them downstairs to the facility. But I found them fairly handleable, almost crested gecko-ish handleable. Do you find the same thing?
I've had a couple that if their temperatures are low enough, and if they are if they're not being fed well, I have gotten so many messages from people who get these guys at a pet store, and they are told you can keep them like crested geckos, and you cannot.
Yes.
So many people message me, my gecko won't eat, my gecko's losing weight, it's super skinny, what can I do? They're a slender species to begin with, but they need heat and they need higher humidity, and without that heat, they won't eat.
And that was probably my experience when we first brought them in, and I put them in here and quarantine in the first couple of days. I'm handling them, and they were just you know, jump, 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 just like a crested gecko. But now that I have them a group downstairs, heat, more humidity, they're very active, very active. So great point, though. Very interesting. Probably the same with a lot of geckos. Nanette, did you have comments that you were starring
that
or?
making noise? Is that what I'm hearing?
I have an alarm going off in the other room. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay.
You're fine. You're
What
fine.
is
Go
making
ahead.
that noise? Somebody wants to know planting zone and what brand tent.
Okay. Okay. Did you start that?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to ask this question. Brad is asking, what brand tent do you use? I'm using VivoSun Pros. VivoSun Pros.
I have a Vivo Sun for the ball pythons. I have a Tour for the frilled and a few of the geckos. I have Melon Farm for most of my smaller ones, and Stay Grow for a few of them.
Does that help, Brad? Do you have any other questions around that? I'm going to ask, what do you do for substrate around these grow tents?
I mix it.
But I mean, do they have a bottom? Do you?
They come with a for like a little hydroponics tray, but I put down actually got the thickest painter's plastic that you can get, and I cut it to fit. So because I have a 2 foot by 2 foot space to work with, I cut it 3 by 3 so that it comes up the sides, and then pack it full of dirt and plants.
Oh, what a great idea.
I thought so.
And I've got to ask again, you went over to these tents more for controlling, you know, you can control temperature in any enclosure, but you went to these tents more for the humidity to try to control the humidity. Is that what I'm hearing?
It was a little bit of both.
Okay.
The reptile room is in the basement, so we get some temperature fluctuations. I was looking for pond liner, and I have to drive like an hour and a half to find some or order it online. But my train of thought derailed.
Oh, from a humidity standpoint and temperature standpoint, that's why you went to tents? Okay.
So with the basement, the temperature fluctuations and everything, because Kentucky, the Ohio Valley has seasons, and sometimes they're all in the same day. So the tents help keep that in check a little bit better.
I have been talking to Bobby from Gecko Cove and a couple of other people that are, excuse me, very, very in tune with the humidity factor with keeping gargoyles of all animals. And they're using tents to maintain that humidity. Here's my question to you about humidity and using these tents. I'm assuming there's limited ventilation holes. Maybe I'm wrong. But how do you control ventilation? With all that humidity, do you have the problem of it maybe getting stale or?
They're designed for that. You ever heard that chameleons need the chimney effect ventilation, where it's moving in through the bottom and up and out through the top? There is a mesh vent at the bottom. There are vents on, most of my tents have a vent on either side, a vent in the back, and a vent at the top. I own a 3D printer. I 3D printed vent covers to put in the tents, and will you sit still? You can kind of cinch them shut around the 3D printed vent covers, and so I can, if it's too humid, I can open things up. If it's not humid enough, I can take those vents out and close them up. I do keep my chameleon in one of the grow tents.
Okay. So do you add any fans or anything to force flow that air?
I don't, because I have a fan it's a good size fan for moving air around the basement specifically. And then I can get little computer fans, which is what a lot of people use. There are grow tent fans that you can clip in there.
Brad saying zip ties are your best friend.
Zip ties are a godsend. I should invest in stock in some form of some brand of zip ties. Zip ties and dirt.
Yeah, dirt reminds me that we have to get a lot of dirt this weekend. We're doing some new enclosures, but zip ties, You can go to like a Temu and buy a bazillion zip ties for $1.99. I think the price is.
You catch the zip ties on sale at Harbor Freight.
There you go. There you go. I'm going to catch this. Do you have any trouble with limited space?
Don't we all?
Yeah. Yeah. After
I
your
have
first
the
animal.
whole basement and my backyard. I am downsizing the geckos a little bit with the efforts to breed the legless lizards. So, because I got to have room for the babies. But other than that, my breeders cohab. I have backups if I need to separate them. I have 2 tents that are still in boxes in case I need to separate somebody. It's just a matter of figuring out where to put them if it comes down to it.
I'm going to ask you to emphasize that, and I want to emphasize it as well. So we talk about limited space and you're cohabbing. You're cohabbing. What the heck are you thinking? Liz, I cohab. And I'm proud of it, and it's worked for me forever and ever and ever.
Working for us.
Yeah, but here's the key. You're watching your animals. I know you, and you're watching your animals all the time. Not only that, if something goes wrong, I see some scarring, I see some bullying, I see some growth differences.
Mm-hmm.
You are set up from a contingency standpoint to move that animal or the other animal out immediately.
Yep. I have, so my main breeder female, she's spicy in her attitude, and she has a history of fighting with the male. And so there is a camera so that I can catch it. The moment she starts to act up, he has to come out.
Yep.
So his tent stays set up in case they have to be. She's playing nice in the bigger cage. I'll give her that. This time she is behaving. Usually, I had her on camera where she grabbed him by his midsection and threw him off the back wall of the cage. And I was like, you cannot do that. Stop.
Wow.
I have 2 that are terrible examples of the species. Lily's a terrible example of co-parenting, and Matrix is just a terrible example of their behavior. Matrix is the one you see me handling at the expos and everything, where he's like plastered to my face. That was 6 months of working with him every day, and Matrix does not believe in choice-based handling. He did not give me an option. He jumped out every time I missed it.
Oh my gosh. And that's another thing I don't think people realize, and I shouldn't say it like that. I should say the general public, the new keeper. We get asked at shows all the time, how are crested geckos for handling? They're just like any other animal for handling. The more you work with them, the more they're going to be handleable. There's going to be some animals that you will never, ever, ever get to handle because that's their, should I say personality? That doesn't make sense. That's their demeanor, disposition. Yeah. So
I call it personality.
Personality. There you go.
I mean, she's super chill. I have one who, if I had her out instead, we would be playing catch the legless lizard instead of having a conversation.
Are they fast?
It's not so much that they're fast. She gets kind of whippy when she wants down.
Okay.
And she's the one that we're medicating. Are male legless lizards aggressive towards each other? I haven't noticed any aggression, but right now I only have the one cohabbing with 2 females. And we'll be introducing the other 3 once the weather is consistently warmer. And then everybody's coming out of the cage for that, so that I can do a little bit of a redo in there and it's fresh territory for everybody.
Get everybody set up for the upcoming season. I mentioned earlier, we're in the same process. I ordered like 10 bags of jungle mix today, and we've had bags of sand. I actually on Amazon, I'm at a limit of how many bags of sand I can now purchase. So, and that's in all seriousness. Brad is saying that you can handle any animal at least once.
Yes.
This is true.
Not guaranteed for any length of time. It may be incredibly brief.
You can handle any animal at least once.
Yeah.
I mean once.
The Tokay will give you a demonstration.
I'm going to go back to the grow out tanks because it's just fascinating. Any other we talked about the pros and maintaining the humidity, maintaining the heat. That's just super important. Any other pros? I guess how light they are, immovable, right?
And when they're not in use, they're a whole lot easier to store.
Oh, there you go.
They come apart. They're poles that just snap together, kind of like a tent. And so then you can push the button, take them apart, fold it up, and put it in one of those vacuum clothing bags and call it a day.
Done.
Yep, I just took one down last week.
Boy, just to have some of those around just in case just makes so much sense to me. That's such a great idea. Never thought about it. If I were to resort to a contingency plan with some of our geckos, I mean, we have, again, spreadsheets all over the place, but we have empty enclosures just for that purpose. But if I had to, I would resort to like plastic tubs, but that takes up space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I've got a couple of plastic tubs that the ball pythons moved out of, because I experimented with the ball python enclosures too. We've done glass, PVC, plastic tubs, and now they're going to grow a tent.
How? Tell me another maybe advantage of the grow tents over maybe a plastic tub.
The space, the amount of space that the animal has.
Okay.
It might be less convenient for me. I can't hang things on the wall now because it's covered with a 5-foot tall tent, but they can climb.
Interesting. Because you can get these tents higher. Oh my.
If I was not completely ashamed of the mess behind this sheet, on the far wall behind me is my frilled lizard's tent.
Interesting.
And
again, how big is it? Sorry, what?
His is also 5 feet tall.
Oh my God.
He
5 feet tall.
I think Brad said something that his were like 8 by 8 by something.
Yeah, I saw that too. To just huge.
He got rid of a couch so he could put a grow tent or a rack in his living room.
Well, priorities.
We relocated the entire living room so that I could have the basement. How many grams? I don't know how many grams are in a pound.
I don't know.
That's not a
I should
conversion
know
I
that.
have locked in up here. The one that just went to the vet, who is my largest, she weighs exactly 1 pound.
Okay. That sounds reasonable. I can't convert. I know grams from like how many grams for a breeding female
I think
crested
Frank
gecko.
just came back
Oh.
and said 450.
Hey,
There you go.
Oh, 454, and then I've got 1,000 grams in a kilo.
Yep. I'm going to get back to the skunk geckos. So let's talk about their requirements. Let's talk about their care, because this is something near and dear to my heart. And because I have a couple of groups of them, and I want to get them going. We've got eggs, but those eggs were laid like when we first got them.
how long have you had them?
What's that?
How long have you had them?
I've had them about midsummer-ish, late summer, and they laid like
Okay.
within. Huh?
Have you candled the eggs?
I have not. They laid them on the glass, and I put a little thing around them and just let them go.
Oh,
But
you
I'm
don't even have to
talking.
cover them. They don't eat their babies.
Oh, really? Cool.
No, Lily's bitten me twice for kidnapping her babies because I don't leave them in the enclosure with her. One, her demeanor kind of sucks, and I don't want to chance it. But she has always guarded the babies. They'll guard their eggs. They'll guard their babies. They'll raise their babies up until they're almost adult size.
Toke gecko.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And they
Yeah,
are supposed to co-parent.
What's
but-
that?
I said they are supposed to co-parent. This is the first year I have different pairs breeding. So it'll be a fun experiment to see if they behave like they're supposed to. It wouldn't be me if I got to have weird things.
But they're so cool. I really think that they're one of the most underappreciated geckos out there. I really do.
I'm super biased, but yeah.
Yeah. And, I'm blessed. I'm going to say this probably the wrong way, but I'm blessed with a lot of animals, and the skunk geckos are quickly climbing up my list of favorites. They really are. And I guess that I've never paid attention to them because, they're always, I hate saying it like this. They're cheap,
Because
and
they're
they're
wild caught.
common. And yes, good point. And good quality animals that are captive bred are expensive, which they should be, and are a far better option.
I tell people I don't price them high because I'm money hungry. I price them high because I want you to pay for something that you're going to put the time and effort into. I'm
Yes.
okay with, I have some that are a year old because people don't want to pay for them, and I'm okay with that.
I think that's very reasonable. Very, there's other geckos that we have that are more common wild that, we've captive bred. A good example, Central American banded geckos, Coleonyx mituratus. You can get them all the time for $35 to $40, on Morph Market. We price them twice that much simply because they're captive, and I will guarantee those animals when you get them.
Right.
So people should be aware of that. So we talked about heat. What's the hot spot for skunk geckos?
Upper 80s to low 90s.
Cool. High humidity, you're talking 75 to 80%?
I run them between 60 and 80 most of the time.
Okay. Terrestrial, arboreal. Yeah.
They prioritize that height.
Interesting.
But in my experience, they like to lay their eggs lower. Lily always puts her eggs near the ground.
But
except for the light fixture.
Except for the light fixture. Thank you very much. But they're gluers though, right?
They are.
Okay.
They'll lay 2 eggs. They lay them about a month apart. And I incubate in the enclosure so I don't damage the eggs. But one of the perks of the grow tents is they don't crack if you pull them off of the mylar.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you wanted to incubate them outside of the enclosure, a tent's a good way to do it if you can carefully remove them. You still run the risk, but it's a lot less likely. I've removed 2 or 3 sets of eggs from the walls of the grow tents with no issue, and then incubated them outside of the enclosure. But if you incubate them in the mid 80s, I kept spreadsheets every year, and I logged the day that the eggs are laid and the day that they hatch. Lily's eggs, for whatever reason, usually hatch between 2 and 4 days apart. If we reach day 5, I assist with the hatching. But it's almost, the average is 83 days. If the temperature's lower, it takes longer. I've had it take 114 days was the longest. And then I've had, I think it was 79 was my shortest.
That's quite a range.
They'll lay eggs. Lily's first year is what made that range, because the first year I bred her, she laid eggs every month for 11 months.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was like,
do
well,
you
look at
need?
you, overachiever.
Yeah. Did you get concerned a little bit about maybe cooling them down to slow her down a little bit?
It didn't.
I
tried to get her to take a year off, and then her calcium stores built up so much I was worried about calcification on the calcium sacs. So I bred her to diminish it.
Ooh.
I gave her last year off, and it was so over the top. I was like, I don't think we can give her a year off. And then somebody pointed out to me, in the wild, do they take a year off? They're going to breed anyway. I was like, right, but we have the control over if it's not looking good. I've retired 2 breeders because I figured, at a year old, we're good. We can breed the females at a year old. And the 2 that I bred at a year old had calcium crashes.
Oh.
I lost one, and the other one I retired.
So what do you do now differently?
She's the one that I retired is just a pet.
Yeah.
There's some sentimentality happening. We almost lost her as a baby too. She was one of the late season babies from Lily's 18 eggs. So I think she had some vitamin deficiencies. A lot of the late babies did that year. And we almost lost Cider. I managed to bring her back. She's gone through having seizures with a calcium crash and everything. What we have learned from her is we keep her in a tub. She doesn't do well in a large enclosure.
Interesting. I have similar experiences with that. Now, my question was more about how do you prevent calcium crashes with your females now? Do you do anything different?
I offer a little bit more calcium ahead of pairing and make sure a lot of soldier fly larvae in the breeding season diet. And then if we're looking like it's gonna hit too many eggs or anything like that, I'll pull the male out.
Okay. I'm assuming that you're heavily dusting your feeder insects, right?
I do calcium once a week and then a vitamin powder with D3 once a week.
Perfect.
And then we've got the soldier fly larva. What are you doing?
Nanette is so jealous. I can just see her like, oh, I wish I had one that I could hold around my neck.
All over it.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get you one Saturday.
Yeah, thanks. No, thanks.
There's one left on Wharf Market. I checked. It's been a couple days. She might not be on there anymore because I have had to fight the urge. I don't need a seventh one.
You're not getting one.
I'm not getting one.
No.
So it is written.
Probably
So it is
get a little bit bigger.
a little bit.
They range between 3 and 4 feet as adults, but they can get bigger.
Oh my.
And that cover your eyes.
No.
My mom doesn't.
It's
come to my
right
house.
here, Nanette.
No.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my.
Amy is asking a lot of good questions, and I think everybody is answering those questions in the chat. Thank you very much, everyone. Amy had asked about the tokays, if you can handle them. Will they calm down a little bit? That's a great question. Our close friend, Sari, handles her tokays all the time, and they'll just walk on her hand, and she'll be, we've seen her do this, talking to somebody, and the tokay is just like a crusted gecko sitting in her hand. It's so cool.
Banshee could never.
Nope.
Read the chat not because I can't keep up anymore.
I am. I've been starring stuff too.
Do you brewmate? I think you answer this, but I just want to ask for everybody else too. Do you brewmate your skunk geckos at all, Liz?
No, because in the wild they don't go through that temperature drop. Their seasons are wet and dry instead of warm and cold.
Do you try to, I guess, emulate that at all?
I do. I have a couple of weather apps on my phone that allow me to check the forecast in several places around the world, and so I have pinned some for the blue tongue, for all of my Indonesian species. I have these guys pegged on the app so that I can make sure that I'm making adjustments for them.
Congrats. That's going above and beyond. That's
weather tracking
cool.
is another one of those fun hobbies that I have. So I do storm tracking and weather tracking. The pattern recognition kicks in and everyone's like, oh my gosh, we're getting so much rain. It never rains like this. It literally rains like this every year, guys. We grew up here.
At that point, do you just mist more?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll mist heavier, so I'll spike the humidity closer to like 95 at night. And then I'll do a light mist in the morning. Our humidity naturally comes up in the summertime because it's the Ohio Valley and it's a basement.
Eggs, you leave with the parents. Babies, do you do anything special other than offer a different food item?
Because we had the issue that first year with some vitamin deficient babies, I start all of them off on Repashy, Pangea, and Reptiboost, just to combat any weird deficiencies we might start off with. And then I keep the Pangea or Repashy in the mix once a week until they're about 6 months old.
Okay, this is interesting. I'm going to tell a real quick story. So we got them in the first couple of weeks. I'm feeding crickets. And I brought up some food for some day geckos, Pangea. Feeding the Pangea to the day geckos. And Crystal, our 13-year-old granddaughter, sometimes you have to stop, with that routine, Wally, and doing the same thing for every. So she said, why don't you feed them Pangea? And I thought, I can try, and put diet dishes in all of their enclosures, and it was gone like that the next morning.
Yep.
So our theory with crested geckos is start them on the diet immediately. It doesn't matter. Oh, it's not going to eat for 2 days, shed, blah. just put the diet in. Put the diet in. Don't worry about the,
Just
you
do
know,
it.
just do it. And then,
That's the ice in my cup.
is that your alarm going off?
Oh, that's the ice.
So, so we're putting the Pangea in, right from day one with the crested geckos, but and we want to do that because we want them used to the crested gecko diet, and then they'll adapt to the feeder insects after 2 or 3 weeks or so. It sounds like you're doing the same exact thing for the skunk geckos.
I started them on fruit flies that first year, and then we had 5 babies that went downhill rapidly. And those were those late season babies. That's how we almost lost cider. And so the second year we bred Lily, I started all of them on Pangea with a little dab of Reptiboost. I'll add some bee pollen into it just to entice them to go for it. I also have cherry flavored syrup if they're being really finicky. And then I also, after the first couple weeks, I'll start adding in fruit flies, pinhead crickets, and things like that. I raise little Kenyan roaches. So they are, nutritionally, they're similar to dubias. But as hatchlings, the baby geckos are too small for even the dubia nymphs. So the Kenyan roaches are a fun substitute for that. They're just a pain in the butt to catch.
Frank is all over those Kenyan roaches, and I had them for a while, and I didn't keep them simply because I couldn't contain them. And I was worried a little bit about that.
I have them in a shoebox, and then I adopted a whole bioactive colony from my local bug dealer.
How do you? Yeah. I'm sure that's a strange call on the phone. Hello. Yeah, I've got the stuff.
So we have catnip spray for our cats, and so we have drug spray and a bug dealer.
Outstanding. How do you contain? Tell me about the babies. So at some point you're pulling them away from the parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it at that time you start feeding live foods, or are you feeding live foods in the adult enclosure?
I pull those babies the moment I know they're in there.
Oh,
yeah.
You said that the parents would take care of them.
They will, but to ensure that everybody is eating and everything properly, because I am offering them. So when a new baby goes home with somebody, I do hatch certificates, I do a pedigree, I do their care logs. So all of that stuff goes with them when they leave me.
Wow.
That way, when somebody has questions,
That's awesome.
They get my contact info. They can hit me on Facebook. They can message me there. Instagram, I'm not very active on Instagram. I very often forget that I have it. But I get a lot of messages on Facebook and on TikTok. And they get I have a digital business card. So I have a digital care guide. And I don't like my information to be more than 5 years old. When I do research, I want it to be up to date. So I update my care guide every 2 to 3 years. And anytime that I update it, I pin the update to the top of my Facebook page. I put out a post, I spread the information, and I let people know that I've updated it.
Hey, Frank, if you wouldn't mind, can you start posting her? I know you've done it several times. Can you put her Facebook link in? And anybody that's watching this, if you're not, if you're doing something else while you're listening, all of her links are in the video's description. You can just go down to the description and click on her links. So you're pulling the babies right away. You're putting how are you raising the babies? What size enclosure, and how are you maintaining that heat and humidity?
I have them I was starting them in critter keepers, and then I've bumped them up into plastic tubs. I think I'll have better luck reverting back to the critter keepers and then just slowly growing them back out. They have an easier time getting that live food in a smaller space.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to keep fruit flies contained if you can mist the top of the critter keeper. That's what I learned. But I have a wire rack, and it's got heat tape on it. It's set on a thermostat to 92 so that heat radiates upward.
Perfect. That makes all the sense in the world. And then you're feeding every other day with the Pangea or Repashy or whatever.
I do that first week is daily with the Pangea. I'll sprinkle in the Reptaboost. I'll do Repashy. And then after that first week, I drop the Pangea to once a week and start to do the fruit flies and the pinhead crickets and stuff.
What would you attribute your very first baby's issues with?
I think it was just that she laid so many eggs that first year that I think she did not have the nutrients to pass on. I think she became a little deficient, and as a result, so were they.
I can appreciate that, and sometimes that happens. You know, you just have to understand. You know, kind of think through the process, understand, and move, and just move on, and fix it and move on. Comment that you made about pulling the babies hit home for me because sometimes we'll have little geckos like Pachydaktylus, as an example, little tiny Pachydaktylus, and they'll have babies in their enclosure, and they don't really go after the babies. They'll not raise the babies like tokays or skunks, but they'll just ignore the babies.
They kind of tolerate their presence.
They tolerate their presence, but here's where I fall down, and here's where I go, oh, I missed some eggs. I feel terrible now because I'm feeding the adults. I'm feeding the adults adult size feeder insects, and I know those babies have probably been in there a day or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. I don't know, with all the little crevices in the rocks. So, I'll do the same. As soon as I see any baby, I pull the baby so I can manage those babies better and keep an eye on them and the babies I'm looking at every day. So I love that point, Liz, that you made about managing the baby.
I also bred golden geckos for a very short time. They will eat their babies. I lost 2 babies because I had a deli cup over them and it wasn't secure enough. And the camera caught the baby hatching.
Oh my God.
And then it caught just out of frame one of the adults lunging. And then I never found the baby when I got up that morning. I was like, you little brat.
I hate to steal your time, but I had a similar situation with Periodora picta. I didn't know for sure. Will the parents be okay with the babies? And I literally watched a baby hatching. I'm going through my feeding routine, and right in front of me, I see a baby hatching. And it's like, oh, the mom's coming up to it. Oh, the mom is giving it little licky kisses. This is oh my God, what just happened?
The skunk geckos will actually help the babies hatch.
Oh,
they'll
just
give
like
them a little nudge, and then they kamikaze out of the egg.
Just like tokays.
Yep.
And I think Brad has mentioned in the chat a couple interviews ago about watching a tokay mom or dad, I can't remember, but mouthing the eggs to crack them open.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Lily won't crack the eggs unless it's getting really close to them to hatch. She'll sit there and watch. And so I'll look at the logs and see when they're due to hatch because I put that information on there. What you can't see because I have everything blocked. There is a calendar in front of me. There is a calendar on the wall beside me. I have 2 planners beside me. I have a dual screen setup and a laptop. Also with calendars and my phone with a calendar because I'm the type of person who wakes up, goes, it's Tuesday and it's Friday.
Interesting.
So
I can relate to that because I have that routine in my head as well. I don't have calendars. I go to my phone for everything that I do, but I know what you're saying. We've got a comment here. JP is saying, this is a blatant, advertisement for the 12 Supreme Days of Christmas, but it's more for you. I started following her page after seeing her in the donor list, by the way. I can't read around my camera. And thank you for donating.
I need to finish I had one person that never contacted me back when I asked for photos. It's like I need a specific type of photo to work off of. And then I need to finish the other one because we ran into medical issues. We had issues with one of the dogs. We have round issues with this newest legless lizard. She is turning out to be quite expensive.
Oh no, sorry to hear that.
It's cool because now I have to let the person that I got her from know that they need to test their entire collection. You would think that a vet being in the family would do that.
Oh, that's got to be heartbreaking.
She is fine. She's completely asymptomatic. It's just a precaution since we're going to be putting everybody in the same very large enclosure. But we would rather it just be limited to her and eradicate the problem before we go around sharing it.
Yes, yes, yes. 1,000% safe, better safe than sorry. I am going to jump over to the starred questions here, see if
You might have gotten them.
we might have
but you
answered
might
some of
not
them.
have.
Okay, let me just go through these just really quick. I'm going to share this one. What is your feeding schedule
For the geckos?
for the gecko for your reptiles? Let's do your
Oh, boy.
reptiles.
I have the room divided into sections, and on one night I will feed the gecko wall and the baby rack, and on another night I feed the snakes and the office lizard because there's a snake in here. And then on another night I will feed the back wall that has Zipper, my super stunted leopard gecko. He has to be fed like a baby, so I feed him on the same schedule as the baby rack. And then one of these fancy dancy planners next to me has that schedule written down because I don't know what day it is.
Are you, here's a geeky question. Are you writing all of your feeding schedules down? Like after you feed, you go, okay, I fed this person, this animal,
I
this
call them
animal.
people too. It's fine.
On
the babies, I have the logs taped to the tops of their bins so that I can feed them. And if I spot clean, if I do a full clean out, if I notice shedding, I can just write all that stuff. When I do their weights, I log their weights. Then I update it on Morph Market.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, free time doesn't exist.
Gone.
Yeah.
I log all of the there's a spreadsheet and a written journal just for these guys. Because I sit at this same desk during the day while I'm working, and so I'll pull up the camera and I write down what the weather's doing, what the temperature is, what the lizards are doing.
I got into a routine where it was and we have so much going on all the time, but just like everybody does, I couldn't remember. Did I feed the crusteds yesterday or the day before? It was only yesterday. I should remember this stuff. Well, now what I do is I have QR codes.
You're old.
I am old. I have QR codes, and I can just scan, and it brings up a list, and I could go, I fed this group, this group, this group, didn't feed, and bam, it's in a spreadsheet with the date and time, obviously. Bam, just bam, right in that spreadsheet.
Right. One of the reasons I wanted the laptop was so that I could have the spreadsheet in the reptile room instead of in my office.
So I don't use the laptop. I'm sorry for folks for this, but I will do, bear with me for a second. I have the QR codes.
Facebook.
I'll share this in the Buy Me a Coffee thing tomorrow, but I have my phone and I can put it on picture, and I'll go up to a QR code, and it brings up this sheet, the form, the Google form, and I can then in there select, okay, fed crusteds and the micros and the weirdo geckos, and submit, and I'm done. So that helps me a lot because it's convenient and it's super fast. If it's hard to use, I'm not going to use it because I've got other stuff to do.
The spreadsheets that I've got, because I use Google Drive for everything. I have the sheets will be labeled as gecko wall, and then it has all of the tents. And then I've got baby rack, and it's each sheet with a different baby because I named them all. Oh. And then it's the office, and it has all of them except for the corn snake because he's on the snake sheet. That way I can see when I fed the snakes.
Perfect. That's a lot of information. That's a lot of good information that you can go back to and analyze.
This is why I don't travel.
Is this your full-time business, or do you work aside from that?
I work full-time. I have a separate, completely not related full-time job. We talked about that yesterday. I decode car keys for a living by photos. So people send pictures of their car keys, and then I determine using programs that I'm not technologically advanced enough to understand. I use those to determine what code the key is cut to. And then I don't cut the key. I don't have a key cutting machine, but the company cuts a new key and sends it to the customer.
Oh.
And since after COVID, they were like, we really don't need you here to do that. So you can stay working from home. And I was like, well, I'm not dumb enough to argue with that.
No.
Score. And thanks for explaining that. That
makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. We have a question here. What zone are you in? Planting zone.
I think is it 6?
I looked at Wisconsin once and I forgot just about as quick as I looked it up.
I look at it every year because I have a greenhouse.
Oh, okay.
It's a storage shed right now, but I have it. It's not growing anything but weeds in there because it's got just the ground for the floor.
So this is planting zone 0. 0 for not growing, just like I am.
I would have to look it up. I think it's 6. I had a giant tent to have a bunch of geckos. Look, I wouldn't. Part of the reason we built the legless lizard cage as big as we did is because I wanted a cage that I could sit in with my animals.
Yeah.
And then we learned from that because everyone's like, oh, they're fossorial. They just dig in the dirt. You'll have an enclosure of dirt and plants that, at least you'll get to enjoy the plants. No. It was a 6-foot tall enclosure, and I walked in there because the camera kept getting set off, and I was face to face with one of my legless lizards in the hanging pot with the Boston fern.
Oh my gosh.
They climb.
Did you realize that they could climb like that?
No, I was told they're fossorial. They don't climb. They absolutely won't take advantage of putting a tree in there. So when it got cold and I had to bring the tree inside, I went to Lowe's and I got those fan-shaped plant trellises, turned them upside down and zip tied them together and stuck it in there as an enrichment ladder.
Perfect. What a perfect solution.
All 3 of them out there will use it.
JP is asking a not so serious question. It's a good question. Would you ever consider getting one giant tent to have all of your skunk geckos loose in?
I don't know how much I trust some of my skunk geckos, like individually, to be running rampant past my face. And it's just Lily. The rest of them I trust enough, but it's Lily I see launching at my face for funsies.
What happened? I'm sorry. Did it?
I can just envision Lily launching at my face for funsies.
Really?
She has an attitude, man. She has the attitude of a tokay gecko.
Oh my gosh. I didn't
You would never guess that that's Matrix's mother.
Different animals, different personalities.
Matrix was a 3rd-year baby. Do I have a cleanup? I do have cleanup crews with my reptiles. I inherited an entire isopod collection.
Oh, the whole collection. Somebody just said, I'm done with isopod.
Cleanup crew. Do you have a cleanup crew for your reptiles is what Andrew was asking.
Yep. What kind of isopods are you using?
I have in the tents. I've got giant canyons, dairy cows, powders. I have in a couple of the tents. I have zebras because they're higher on the protein.
Okay.
And those animals have a higher protein diet.
Do you occasionally see them eating the isopods?
My frilled lizard thinks that zebra isopods are a delicacy.
Oh, and they are.
They were a very expensive delicacy when I tried to set him up bioactive. He ate all of them in less than 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh, gone just like that. Thank you.
We don't add isopods unless Nedry is sleeping now.
Mm-mm.
I agree with Frank. The giant canyons are by far one of the most underrated cleanup crew isopods out there. You were talking about, the zebras. I've got to relate this story. In our skunk gecko enclosure that I moved the skunk geckos downstairs to give them more heat and more humidity. I didn't remember putting panda isopods. What's that?
Kings.
Panda kings in that enclosure. And as I'm moving the skunks, I bet you I must have seeded it with, half a dozen or so at some point just to do some cleanup. But there's like 200 in that enclosure now. I lifted up one of the logs and it was just covered with panda kings.
See, the Nedry ate all of the zebra isopods, but the powder oranges he thinks are the world's greatest roommates. They're fine. Whole population boom in there.
Wow, nice.
Maybe
And they do a
don't
great
taste
job.
as good.
Maybe they don't taste as good. Yeah, maybe they don't taste like chocolate covered peanuts. Yeah.
Well, zebras look like Oreo cookies.
Oh, that's why.
Can't blame them now.
No, not at all.
You can't at all.
Angie is saying my crusty ate my whole isopod colony, and that can. So that's my suggestion to everybody that that comes by and gets isopods from us. Oh, I went for a cleanup crew. Well, keep some in a separate setup, and then seed your enclosure with half of them, and keep half of them in a 6-quart just in case.
Not only that, Reptiles recently did a Patreon post that pointed to vitamin K2 helping with calcium distribution throughout the body. And one of the things that is really high in K2 is crustaceans. And isopods are technically crustaceans. So I do use them as a feeder for my old Lacerda because he likes them.
Oh, that makes all the sense in the world. Absolutely. And
I had messaged her and I was like, do you think that like as a feeder they would work? Because if they're proving that this is good for people and it stands to reason, it would work the same way. And since isopods are crustaceans, as she goes, there's not any information on it, but it's definitely worth looking into, especially since it is something that they would probably eat in the wild.
so my mind immediately goes to some of the Uroplatus that people are saying, oh, these animals, these leaf tails, need snails. Oh, I better go out and get some snails. They have to have snails. That legless needs snails.
Their jaws are perfect, just like a blue-tongued skink for crushing snail shells. I'm in the process of starting a breeding colony of garden snails just for the legless lizards.
Well, here's what I was thinking as you were talking about the isopods. I never made the connection until you mentioned it, but why wouldn't, instead of snails, why wouldn't these animals take isopods, especially the isopods that have a firmer, maybe some of the armadillidiums, a firmer shell, and get their calcium that way instead of having to deal with snails.
Snails are probably more likely to climb since I find them on top of my greenhouse all the time, but I don't ever find isopods up there.
Yeah, directly in the face of the animals. Yeah. But there are a lot of leaf tails that sit, looking down at the ground, waiting for something to kind of crawl past them. This is an interesting point. I've got a couple of people I need to talk to about this. This is fun.
If nothing else, find ways to make you think.
Yes, exactly. And I think that, the whole theory about you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You in this hobby, in any hobby, folks, you have to keep an open mind. Always think about those possibilities. I missed the question. Somebody has. Oh, here it is. Let me see if I can get this up. Okay, there we go. Frank is asking, ever think about culturing terrestrial amphipods?
I'll have to look it up.
I would say, Frank, can you speak in English? I don't know what that
You
is.
better be careful because he'll come back.
Yeah, he will. What is an amphipod? I have not.
I'm going to have to look it up.
Yeah. As a cleanup crew. I don't know
Small
what
shrimp-like crustaceans adapted to life on land, typically inhabiting damp environments such as leaf litter, soil, and under logs. They
Interesting.
kind of look like shrimp, yeah.
Oh my gosh. But they're not
Like
aquatic.
a weird cross between an isopod, a shrimp, and a flea. They're weird looking.
Yeah. Laura is saying Frank always has these great ideas. He does. Interesting. Anybody else have?
Messing with you.
Yeah, maybe he just made that name up. Anybody else have some questions? I mean, we've brought up a lot of topics here. We could go on for hours
There it
talking
is.
about some of these animals. What's that?
It looks like a shrimp.
It looks like a shrimp?
Yeah.
Interesting. Anybody else have any questions?
Isopod versus an anthropod.
If not, Liz, what are your plans for this year and moving forward? Maybe give us here's where I see the Caffeinated Lizard being at the end of this year, and here's where I see it being as a business in 5 years.
Oh, in 5 years, I have no idea. But the plans for this year are I've got 3 pairs of geckos paired up for this year. Later this year, Matrix finally gets to meet his mail order bride from the bio dude.
Oh,
His future wife is from the bio dude. I wanted another captive bred female that was from a good line.
yes.
Josh has good animals, so we'll pair Matrix up late this year, so he'll be breeding next year. And then once everybody clears their vet visits and everything with the legless lizards, I'm going to go out and overhaul that enclosure. They are the big project of the year. The idea with these guys was to get some captive breeding going because they're largely unavailable captive bred. Bio Dude has amazing stuff, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Bio Dude has the store now, or he has for a while, but do you have any dream projects? Do you have any plans on expanding, like more pairs, different species?
So I like to not try to overwhelm myself because it's not just I have the full-time job. I have the expos. The one expo in Clarksville I actually work for. So I run their Facebook page. I run the Facebook page for the Herp Society. I run my Facebook page. And then I've got these guys. Their enclosure outside is getting a full-blown overhaul this year. We're redoing the roof. We're hawk-proofing it because that was almost an issue last year.
Oh.
And then hoping we can get these guys breeding. I need to test the incubators. I'm overhauling the grow tents so that all of them are bioactive. I'm downsizing some of my other projects. I was going to breed hognoses, and then locally the market's saturated, and I don't like them enough to be stuck with 30 of them. So I like these guys enough to be stuck with 30 of them, and I like the geckos enough to be stuck with 30 of them. And when people start asking, what should I breed? The thing you're okay with being stuck with 30 of.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. Ask yourself, if I had to get rid of every single animal, which one or 2 or 3 would I keep? And focus on them. And if you have something like years and years and years ago, we were selling a ton of bearded dragons, but it wasn't my passion.
Right.
And the year after we bred a bazillion of them, I sold them all. Said this isn't what I want to spend my time with. So it wasn't our passion. So they left the facility.
The dream project for this year, I'll cry if I get eggs. That's where we're at. Like, I was super excited yesterday when they finally came out information and I realized that I had managed to successfully keep these guys safely outside all winter.
Yes.
That's I don't brag about a lot of things, but I'll brag about that.
Well, let me ask this because I didn't ask the question earlier and I should have. How hard are these to breed? How successful are we in the States, or how successful are they in Europe in breeding these animals?
Not very.
Okay.
It took a zoo in Australia forever to figure it out. I think it's the Cincinnati Zoo and the zoo in St. Louis have managed to successfully breed them in captivity with 100% hatch rates and everything. I think it's the Cincinnati zookeeper who has offered tips and everything in the Legless Lizard Facebook group. So she gave me some solid information just this week, actually, and said if I have any questions, reach out and ask away. So there's definitely some help in getting it going. I know there's a couple of people in the hobby that have managed to hatch eggs. I just don't know that they managed to breed them or if they were just gravid imports.
And that's fortunate in a way to get an animal that's already gravid, but I mean, that doesn't prove anything out.
No.
So you're kind of, you've got your ear to the ground, kind of picking up these tips and techniques, and you're going to try them this year. We absolutely wish you all the luck in the world, because that's such a thrilling project.
It'll be all over Facebook.
What's that?
It will be all over Facebook.
Well, and that's a perfect segue too, as we're talking about this. I'm looking for other.
Put something up.
What's that?
Frank just put a link.
Perfect. Speaking of that, I don't know anybody in the hobby that is sharing more information, not just pictures. I can post pictures all day and cool geckos. Oh, that's so pretty. But you're sharing information about the hobby and about what you're doing in your blog on Patreon.
I need to get back on that. That kind of fell by the wayside a little bit.
Yeah, but you were posting like every day. I don't know how anybody could keep up with that schedule. I really don't. I don't know how you did it for so long.
I get up at 5:30 in the morning, have some free time in the morning before work.
and I see you on Adam's show, proper show. Yeah, early in the morning. And for me, it's like, the alarm's going off. I've got to jump on that show. He's such a good guy. But anyways, you share so much information. Folks, go out to her Patreon. Again, it's in a link in this video's description. And as all of our lights are going off here in this room.
It's like everything is shutting down on me.
Can you tell people where they can find you once again, Liz?
It's the Caffeinated Lizard on Facebook and on TikTok. It's where I spend most of my time. I have a very underused YouTube and a very underused Instagram under the same name. And then the Patreon.
Have you ever thought of taking your TikTok videos and just shoving them over to YouTube?
I just started doing the TikTok lives, and what I'll do is I clip those live streams and post them. I am still working on being brave enough to talk to the camera.
Oh,
you did fine tonight.
I am a chicken about being on camera.
You did a really good job tonight, then.
Thank you.
I don't see that at all, and I hear that from people.
I have my emotional support lizard this evening.
Well, I'm not calling Nanette a lizard. Everyone, don't take this the wrong way, but Nanette is my emotional support every single show. I freeze up a lot, and I just kind of look at her and I joke, and we get past it. So I think everybody has to have that. You did a fantastic job.
I'm saying it too. They're coming in. Fantastic job tonight. You did amazing.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Sleeping on the couch.
Again? Wow.
Surprise.
It's been 2 days.
Surprise.
Liz, thank you very much for coming on. Again, we wish you all the best luck in the world with these projects. Some very interesting information. I am going back to the show and rewatching it for some of the tips that you shared, especially with the skunk geckos. I appreciate all the information that you provide to the community, and it's been our pleasure to have you on tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for coming on. Thanks, everyone, for joining in. We'll see you next week. Buy Me a Coffee members, show up tomorrow night. You don't have to be there to win the giveaway gifts, but we will have some live gifts as well. So see you tomorrow. Buy Me a Coffee members at 6:30. See everyone else next week, 6:30 Thursday.
Thanks, Frank.
Good night, everyone.